I happened upon an old photograph of myself while I was searching through the pages of a book that I had forgotten about on a bright and sunny morning. I found myself wondering, who was I at that very moment, and who am I now? As I stared at the smile that seemed to be frozen in time, in accordance with the words of Socrates, "Know thyself," but how many of us actually set out on this profound journey? Surprisingly, 80% of people believe they have a good understanding of themselves, but only a small percentage of them actually explore the innermost parts of their being. Your challenge is to look inward, beyond the layers of social masks and expectations that you have placed on yourself. Which aspects of yourself are you going to learn about today? But let's delve deeper into this topic in the video, so make sure you subscribe to our channel so that you can stay the course with us. Self-awareness. Have you ever pondered the reason why, on the stage of life, even when we are the protagonist, we can sometimes feel lost in the face of the daily antagonists? On this day, we will discuss how self-awareness can serve as a compass for you on this course of action. Acquiring an understanding of oneself is analogous to possessing a map in a foreign land. In the process of getting to know yourself, you are able to recognize not only your strengths but also your weaknesses, thereby transforming challenges into opportunities for personal development. Imagine being able to recognize when a negative comment does not reflect who you are, but rather who the other person chooses to be. Such clarity would allow you to respond appropriately. Through introspection, one can travel to the core of their being, not with the intention of isolating themselves, but rather to strengthen their connections with other people. It is as if by delving deeply within yourself, you are able to emerge with a shield that is able to reflect the negativity of others without allowing it to penetrate your being. How does one go about practicing this art? It is through consistent introspection. In the same way that you would drink water or breathe, make it a habit. By allowing each difficult circumstance to serve as an invitation to ask yourself, what does this teach me about myself? When you do this, you not only disarm people who are toxic to you, but you also pave the way for decisions that are more prudent. Please take a look around you. Consider each interaction as a chance to practice this self-awareness, because in the end, the greatest victory is over oneself, with the goal of achieving a state of peace and control that no one can disturb. Also, keep in mind that as you progress along this path of self-awareness, each step you take illuminates the path for others to discover their own path as well. Throughout our journey through life, we will come across moments of choice and emotional crossroads that will not only determine who we are, but also who we will become. Forgiveness and memory are two of these moments. It is necessary to navigate these frequently turbulent waters in search of a safe harbor known as inner peace in order to have a conversation about forgiveness and memory. But how can we strike this delicate balance between forgetting and forgiving things that have happened to us? When we forgive, we are not erasing the memories, rather, we are redefining our relationship with those memories at the same time. Put yourself in the position of a sculptor. Every experience, whether positive or negative, is a rough block of marble. Forgiveness is the instrument that enables us to fashion beauty out of suffering. But memory is the guide that ensures we do not cut our fingers in the process of doing so. You should take into consideration the following: when we forgive, we create space in our hearts for new connections, relationships that are more healthy, and that flourish in the fertile ground of understanding and empathy. In spite of this, we construct a fence around this garden, not to prevent other people from entering, but rather to shield the young plants from the storms that have occurred in the past. The most stunning flower in this garden is the one that represents resilience. Rather than growing in spite of adversity, It grows as a result of the lessons we take away from it. It is the recollection of previous winters that teaches us to appreciate the sun that comes down in the spring. Relationships that are healthy are not those that are free of disagreements, rather. They are those in which we have learned to dance in the rain, guided by memories of storms that have occurred in the past. When you are traveling down this path, it is important to keep in mind that forgiving someone is like opening the door to the future, but remembering is like keeping the key. To build a better tomorrow, it is not about living in the past, but rather about using the lessons that it has to offer. One of the most important aspects of living is striking a balance between the levity of forgiveness and the wisdom of memory. I would like to encourage you to think about how this equilibrium manifests itself in your life. What are some ways that you can use forgiveness to make room for new experiences while still allowing memories to serve as sentinels that safeguard your development? Move forward with self-assurance, use forgiveness as wings to soar to great heights, and use memory as roots to keep yourself firmly planted on the ground. At the end of the day, it is this equilibrium that completes us, enabling us to have relationships that are profoundly enriching and to develop a resilience that always leads us to flourish. Maintaining emotional steadiness is essential for successfully navigating the turbulent sea of human interactions. It is not enough to simply be able to swim. Being in the company of poisonous individuals is analogous to being in waters that are teeming with currents that are dishonest. Maintaining emotional steadiness is essential if one wishes to navigate these waters without being carried through by the current. The question is, how can one keep their composure and equilibrium in the face of such a difficult situation? The answer can be found in the efficacy of stress management and the power of practicing mindfulness. Imagine that your mind is a vast ocean, and the waves that are on the surface are your feelings, which are constantly shifting in response to the winds. On the other hand, beneath this turbulent surface is a place of profound calmness that is unmovable under any circumstances. You can get there by diving into mindfulness, which is the dive. Through practice, one can acquire the ability to breathe while the waves are crashing against them, to recognize the storm without being engulfed by it. Every time you practice mindfulness, you are reminded that you are not your feelings, rather, you are the vast and unchanging sky through which they pass. The cultivation of this awareness results in the development of mental resilience, which is an invisible shield that toxic people are unable to penetrate. Stress management acts as a compass in this ocean. Techniques like deep breathing, positive visualization, and regular physical activity are the coordinates that guide us back to balance, even when currents try to veer us off course. We learn from them how to identify the warning signs of a storm and how to seek shelter before the waves become severe enough to be dangerous. Building up this level of emotional steadiness is not a simple endeavor, but it is a process that is extremely liberating. This is the process of constructing an internal lighthouse that will lead you back to a state of calm, regardless of how dark the night may be. However, what is even more important is the realization that you possess an enormous capacity for rebirth and tranquility within yourself. Remember that when you come into contact with toxic people, you should not attempt to calm the storm, rather, you should calm yourself. It will be the sea's own volition to settle. In addition, you will not only be able to survive the toxic currents, but you will also learn how to navigate with self-assurance and tranquility, regardless of the conditions of the sea, if you implement mindfulness and stress management practices. When it comes to setting boundaries, have you noticed that there are times when we feel overwhelmed because we lack the ability to say no when it is required? In any case, establishing boundaries is not only about erecting barriers, it is also about paving the way for more healthy relationships and genuine well-being. Imagine that your life is a garden, and that the boundaries of your life are like fences that protect the plants that you hold dear. Because they are not present, anyone can enter the room and trample the flowers. With these fences, however, you have the ability to decide who is allowed to enter and how they are allowed to interact with your space. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt exhausted simply because you were unable to say no to something? This feeling of exhaustion is not an indication of weakness, rather, it is a warning that your limits are being tested with this feeling. The act of establishing boundaries is a courageous act, as it involves stating, "This is me, and this is what I need to feel respected and safe, and you know what?" Not only do you protect yourself by doing so, but you also teach other people to respect your space, which results in the formation of relationships that are founded on mutual respect. However, how can this be accomplished without appearing cold or unyielding? The communication is the primary factor. Expressing your boundaries in an open and honest manner is not an indication of selfishness, but rather of self-awareness and respect for oneself. This not only strengthens the bonds between us, but it also promotes an environment in which everyone feels heard and valued. It is a way of saying, "I value our relationship and want it to be the best possible for both of us." Please accept my invitation to take action now. Take some time to consider your limits. Do they have a distinct definition? What is the first step you can take right now to begin establishing them, if you have not already done so? In the process of establishing healthier relationships and a personal space that is respected, it is important to keep in mind that every single step counts. Is it possible for us to embark on this journey of self-awareness and mutual respect together? When it comes to energy intelligence, have you ever given any thought to the fact that just as we charge our mobile phones on a daily basis to ensure that they continue to function, we also need to recharge our energy? Energy intelligence is the art of managing your own energy in a way that influences not only yourself, but also those around you, creating a calm environment and promoting healthy behaviors. I'm not just talking about getting enough sleep or taking vacations from time to time. I'm referring to energy intelligence. Consider the practice of meditation, for instance. Meditation is a powerful tool for recalibrating the mind and body, allowing you to reconnect with your center and generate positive energy. It is more than just a moment of peace and quiet. It is a powerful tool. Have you ever noticed how a simple meditation session can completely change the course of your day, making it more peaceful and focused on accomplishments? What about the nutritional aspect? Just as we select high-quality fuel for our automobiles in order to improve their performance, the kind of food that we eat can be the fuel that we require in order to maximize our energy. Not only does a well-balanced diet that is abundant in nutrients nourish the body, but it also nourishes the mind, which has a direct impact on our capacity to maintain composure and make intelligent choices. One thing to keep in mind, however, is that the management of your own energy is not restricted to individual practices. In addition to this, it entails being aware of how the energy you present affects other people and how you can positively affect the environment that surrounds you. Have you ever noticed how the presence of someone who is not only calm but also centered can reassure an entire room? When it comes to energy intelligence, this is the power. Right now, I want you to take a moment to think about how you are managing your energy in order to meet the challenges that you encounter in your day-to-day life. Are you providing yourself with the appropriate fuel, both mentally and physically? It is important to keep in mind that even the smallest of adjustments, such as incorporating meditation and mindful eating into your daily routine, can have a significant impact. Are you prepared to begin recharging your energy in a way that is both intelligent and positive, and to positively influence the world around you? I would appreciate it if you could leave a comment and a like on this video so that it can be seen by more people. Additionally, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Focus on objectives in the course of our daily journey toward success and personal fulfillment. There is one skill that stands out as particularly important: the capacity to keep our attention fixed on our individual goals. Believe me when I say that it is not enough to simply have a list of objectives. It is also necessary to possess the inner fortitude to remain on track, particularly when confronted with challenges or individuals who may or may not attempt to divert us from our intended path. It is in situations like these that emotional intelligence, which is our true superpower, comes into play. People who have a high emotional intelligence have a quick radar that allows them to recognize harmful influences and protect themselves from them. They are conscious of the fact that the environment in which they find themselves can either invigorate or deplete their motivation. How are they able to accomplish this? To begin, by cultivating self-awareness and becoming aware of their feelings and the ways in which those feelings influence their actions. Because of this profound comprehension, they are able to maintain their composure and clarity even when they are surrounded by negativity. Furthermore, the capacity for empathy, which is another component of emotional intelligence, assists individuals in comprehending the thoughts and feelings that lie behind the actions of others without allowing those actions to disrupt their emotional equilibrium. These people are able to protect themselves and move forward while keeping their goals in sight by employing empathy. They do this so that they are not drawn into the dramas that other people are experiencing. But how does this actually work in the real world? Let's make things easier. Imagine that your objective is a lighthouse that is visible on the horizon. The waves and storms are the people and situations that you encounter along the way that are harmful to you. Through the use of your emotional intelligence, which serves as an internal compass, you are able to navigate through these turbulent waters without losing sight of your lighthouse. You can adjust the sails, as well as your actions and reactions, in order to remain on course. At this point, I would like to encourage you to think about the lighthouses that you are looking for. In what ways have the waves attempted to cause you to veer off course? The most important question is, how can you adjust your sails so that you can keep your attention on the things that really matter? Always keep in mind that success and personal satisfaction are not solely about accomplishing one's objectives. Rather, they are about the process of getting there, which involves confronting and overcoming challenges with resiliency and emotional intelligence. Therefore, maintain your concentration, guard your energy, and proceed forward, because the power that truly exists is within you. Stoicism in the 21st century is your guide to resiliency, well-being, and prosperity. It is designed to help you take control of your life by incorporating the insights of some of the greatest philosophers recorded in history. In order to transform difficulties into victories, stress into strength, and uncertainty into clarity, take action. You can begin your journey toward a life of success and satisfaction by clicking on the link that has been pinned to the comment section right now. Obtain your ebook right away. Seeking support as we travel through life, we come across challenges and obstacles that put our strength to the test, mountains that appear to be insurmountable, and opportunities to seek support. On the other hand, regardless of how strongly we believe that we are capable of overcoming them on our own, there is a fundamental truth that we cannot ignore. Any of us requires assistance. When the journey is shared with friends, family, or professionals who are able to provide us with a helping hand, a word of comfort, or a different perspective, the journey becomes lighter and more meaningful when it is shared. Consider that you are the only person in a maze. While you are attempting to find a way out, you attempt to navigate paths that lead to dead ends. Imagine that you have a drone that is able to observe the maze from a higher vantage point. Those individuals who are on your side are represented by that drone. You are unable to see the view that they provide because you are trapped in the maze. The simple act of listening to one another and sharing one's experiences can shed light, revealing paths that were previously invisible. Although friends and family may not have all the answers, they can shed light on the situation. When it comes to experiencing difficulties on an emotional or psychological level, the assistance of professionals can serve as the guide that we require in order to navigate through dense and dark forests. Professionals in the fields of psychology, therapy, and counseling are analogous to seasoned explorers who are aware of the shortcuts and hidden traps that exist within the jungle of our minds. Searching for assistance is not an indication of weakness. This is the version that has been cleaned up and punctuated. This is a demonstration of strength. It is acknowledging that we are social beings who are interconnected, and that our capacity to develop and triumph over obstacles is multiplied by an exponential factor when we are willing to accept assistance. The various viewpoints and experiences experienced by other people are analogous to pieces of a puzzle that, when assembled, have the potential to finish the picture that we are attempting to create. Consequently, the next time you find yourself confronted with a challenge, keep in mind that you do not have to contend with it by yourself. Reach out to others, talk about the challenges you're facing, and allow the variety of perspectives and the encouragement you receive from those around you to assist you in discovering new ways of looking at things and finding solutions. We are more powerful, more knowledgeable, and vastly more capable when we work together. Take charge of your negative self-talk. Are you familiar with the internal critic that seems to have a megaphone and is always ready to bring attention to our shortcomings and fears? The negative self-talk that we engage in can be one of the most significant barriers to our overall well-being and personal development. Nevertheless, it is possible to transform this critic into an ally, thereby promoting a positive self-image and reducing anxiety, provided that the appropriate techniques are utilized. To begin, let's discuss the concept of rethinking our minds. Imagine that each and every negative thought occupies a spot in your mind that is similar to a cloud of darkness. The act of recasting these thoughts is analogous to discovering the bright side of those dismal clouds. For instance, rather than thinking, "I will never be able to get this right," we can reframe it as, "I am facing challenges, but I am learning and growing with each experience." This shift in narrative not only alleviates pressure, but also creates space for personal development and growth. There is also the practice of mindfulness, which is another powerful technique. Observing our thoughts and feelings without passing judgment on them is what this means, which means being fully present in the moment. When we find ourselves caught up in a whirlwind of negativity, practicing mindfulness enables us to take a step back, observe those thoughts as fleeting clouds and not as unquestionable truths. With this point of view, we are able to discriminate between thoughts that are worthy of our attention and those that we can let go of. Furthermore, gratitude is a tool that is underutilized when it comes to controlling negative self-talk. Do your best to make a list of 3 things for which you are thankful at the end of each day. You can cultivate a more optimistic perspective of both yourself and the world around you by performing this straightforward action. which can help you shift your focus from what is lacking in your life to what is abundant in it. Finally, keep in mind that self-compassion is an indispensable quality. We all experience times of uncertainty, but if we show compassion to ourselves in the same way that we would to a friend, it can make a significant difference. In the next instance, in which your internal dialogue becomes harsh, you should ask yourself, would I say this to someone I love? If the answer is no, it is time to adjust the conversation between you and yourself. Altering one's negative self-talk is not something that can be accomplished overnight. However, it is possible to transform this internal critic into a motivational coach through the application of practice and patience. Additionally, keep in mind that each and every advantageous step you take in this direction is a cause for celebration. Approach that is solution-oriented in a world that frequently appears to be full of challenges. The ability to keep a mindset that is solution-oriented can be your golden compass. The mindset that actively seeks out practical solutions rather than dwelling on problems and obstacles is referred to as the problem-solving mindset. Not only does this approach make us more resilient in the face of adversity, but it also gives us the ability to harness the power of creativity, adaptability, and cooperation. Imagine that you are a sailor at sea, and that the seas are turbulent. The challenges consist of the heavy winds and waves that are attempting to steer you in a different direction. In this situation, taking a solution-oriented approach is analogous to adjusting the sails and the helm in order to make the most of the force of the wind, thereby transforming challenges into opportunities to advance. During this journey, creativity will serve as your mast. This enables you to see beyond the conventional solutions that are available, allowing you to discover new avenues and opportunities where others see dead ends. When we are confronted with a challenge, it is simple to become mired in the way that we have always done things. However, it is through the ability to think creatively that we frequently discover the solutions that we are looking for. Capacity for adaptation is the sail that propels you forward in a world that is always changing. It is essential to possess the capacity to adjust and shape oneself in response to new circumstances. It is necessary to be open to gaining knowledge, making adjustments, and occasionally acknowledging that the initial solution that comes to mind might not be the most effective one. To be adaptable, one must be able to flow with the changes rather than fighting against them. In conclusion, cooperation serves as the rudder that assists in navigation. Many issues are far too complicated to be solved by one person alone. Through collaboration with other individuals, the exchange of information, expertise, and points of view, we are able to discover solutions that are more efficient and long-lasting. The act of cooperating brings to light the significance of every single person and demonstrates how, when we work together, we can accomplish more than the sum of our parts. Now, I would like to ask you to reflect on the following question when you are confronted with problems that arise. Do you initially focus on the obstacles, or do you seek solutions? Don't forget that every obstacle presents an opportunity to develop, learn, and come up with new ideas. Always keep your sails adjusted with creativity and adaptability, and keep in mind that we are stronger when we work together. Keep your compass pointing in the direction of finding solutions. Since this is the case, there is no storm that cannot be dealt with. Avoiding arguments that aren't necessary. Navigating the complex world of human interactions can sometimes put us on collision courses with arguments that aren't necessary, particularly when they involve people whose energies appear to be more draining than enriching. The adoption of some effective strategies, on the other hand, can assist us in avoiding these storms, thereby the preservation of our inner peace and the maintenance of relationships that are more harmonious. In the first place, Concentrating on the similarities rather than the differences can serve as a beacon that directs us to waters that are less turbulent. We lay the groundwork for mutual understanding when we focus on the things that we share with other people and how we are similar to them. This does not mean that we should disregard our differences or compromise our values. Rather, it means that we should look for areas of agreement that can serve as a foundation for developing constructive dialogue. Always keep in mind that when we have a strong foundation, it is much simpler to construct bridges. You should also be able to recognize when it is appropriate to withdraw from a debate. Not every argument is worthy of your time and effort. It is essential to be able to recognize the signs that indicate a conversation is moving into territory that is not productive. If you have the impression that the conversation will not result in anything productive, you should deftly withdraw from it. Instead of being a sign of defeat, this is a sign of emotional intelligence and the ability to protect oneself. The proverb "choose your battles" is one that fits in perfectly with this situation. To add insult to injury, one of the most effective methods for diffusing tensions is to substitute statements with questions. Questions, as opposed to confrontation, have the effect of encouraging reflection and dialogue. For instance, rather than saying, "You are wrong," you could try asking, "Can you explain your point of view better to me?" This demonstrates that you are open to understanding the other side of the argument and has the potential to transform a potential argument into an enriching exchange of ideas from both parties. Additionally, it is always helpful to practice empathy and patience, keeping in mind that each of us carries our own struggles and perspectives. This is something that should be done in addition to the strategies in this article. When we put ourselves in the position of the other person, even if we do not agree with them, we are able to cultivate a deeper understanding that goes beyond the disagreements that we have at the moment. In order to successfully navigate the waters of human communication, proficiency and caution are required. However, if we are equipped with the appropriate tools, we can avoid many of the storms that come our way. It is important to keep in mind that true strength is the capacity to remain calm and clear even in the midst of overwhelming chaos. Detection of false cordiality, recognizing the signs of false cordiality, is comparable to learning how to decipher a secret code in the vast universe of human interactions. You can protect yourself from being manipulated and contribute to the development of relationships that are more genuine and meaningful if you have the ability to recognize when someone is genuinely friendly or if there are hidden intentions. You can decipher this code with the assistance of the following tools. One can get a glimpse of a person's true intentions through their body language. Some indications that the displayed cordial behavior is not entirely sincere include a smile that does not reach the eyes, postures that are closed, or eye contact that is avoided without making direct eye contact. Take into consideration the distinction between a genuine smile, which brightens the entire face and frequently involves the entire body, and a fake smile, which is limited to the lips alone. It is possible that gaining the ability to read these signs will provide significant insights into the actual nature of the interaction. The tone of one's voice is also revealing. It is common for genuine cordiality to be accompanied by a tone of voice that is warm, inclusive, and consistent. False cordiality, on the other hand, can be characterized by a tone that is excessively sweet and appears to be out of place with the circumstances, or by sudden variations in tone that do not correspond to the natural flow of the conversation. Make sure that the manner in which the information is being conveyed is consistent with what is being communicated. Behavior that is consistent is another important indicator to look for. People who are genuine have a tendency to behave in a manner that is consistent with their actions and the way they treat other people, regardless of the circumstances. If a person exhibits a level of cordial behavior that varies greatly or appears to be selective based on who is present or what benefits can be obtained, this could be a warning sign. Lastly, have faith in your gut instinct. When we sense that something is not quite right, we frequently have an instinctive feeling. Pay attention to these feelings if you are experiencing discomfort or if you have the impression that the friendliness of another person is not genuine. They are the result of your subconscious mind picking up on subtleties that your conscious mind might not immediately recognize. When you protect yourself from false cordiality, you are not closing yourself off to new relationships. Rather, you are opening yourself up to connections that are more genuine and meaningful. You will be better equipped to navigate the complex world of human relationships if you improve your ability to discern the intentions of others. This will help you to foster an environment that is authentic and respectful of one another,